Hello and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to be doing a stock analysis on IBM. Now, if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and please don't forget this isn't financial advice. This is purely education and entertainment purposes. Now, what does IBM make? They make software, they also make infrastructure, and they do consulting. That is the three main revenue sources. Now, I'm going to get into that a bit later, but first let's look at the graph. As you can see, recently it has had it quite nicely all the way back from October 23. It was down at 136. It was all the way up recently in 250, no, what is it, 263, yep. Then ever since then we did see a bit of a tumble here. Of course, we'll see did a huge tumble here close to the Liberation Day, but then again, so did every single stock. So yeah, currently it is trading quite highly compared to earlier, but it is in an upwards trend, which is of course nice. As a value investor myself, I prefer to buy stocks that are in an upwards trend. This is a bit of a downwards trend at the moment, as you can see also down here in the RSI. We are currently in a bit more negative in the lower channel of the RSI. Now, if you don't know what RSI is, it is the relative strength index. So if something is below 50 and above 30, it is in the lower channel. If something is above 50 but below 70, it is in the upper channel, which means upwards momentum and downwards momentum. Then we also have, as you can see here, these pitfalls and these spikes, which are when something is oversold or overbought. As you can see here, the graph falls quite sharply. This means that it is oversold. As you can see, it does that for a while and then often sharply returning, and then again, as you can see here, right here, again it is overbought, again it is overbought, and it is overbought, and then we see it falling down. So when something is up here or down here, it often fluctuates quite hardly. So if you see a company that is spiking down here, if you are trading with quite short intervals, that might be a great time to pick up a stock. Now, I do like them a lot because they pay out great dividends. As you can see here, they pay out dividends both in February and also in November, August, and May. So they pay up 4 times a year, which I like quite a lot because that means you can get your dividend snowball rolling quite fast. Now, as you can see here, the next earnings report is in 3 days, which I'm quite excited for. It is one of the first huge tech companies to show the next earnings report, which I like, and I like them quite a lot. I personally don't own any IBM at the moment. I have had some, but I recently reduced my position due to the volatility in the stock market. At the moment, I am going quite liquid. Now, as you can see here, the earnings report is quite nice. As you can see here, they beat it quite nicely with by 5%, then 11.6%, 3%, and 3% again, even though they guided quite a lot higher by almost 50%. As I told you, their dividend pay is quite decent. It is at 2.8%, and they pay it out 4 times a year. Now, I like this quite a lot more than, say, if they pay them out once a year. Yes, the dividend then they would then be bigger, but you would only have to invest them once a year. Here, you can invest them all the time, which means you can more quickly get your dividend snowball rolling. Now, as you can see here, annually, it is nice growth for IBM. It isn't the huge growth machine that we see in some other companies like Microsoft or Nvidia or Apple. That is by far IBM's biggest problem, is that they are quite sluggish in their revenue growth. It is quite stable as they generate over $10 billion in free cash flow each year, so which means that's why they can pay out so great dividends and also reinvest them and purchase stocks back. And also in the quarters, they perform quite nicely. We did see in Q4 here of Q3 of 2024 where they lost money, but then again, for tech companies, some quarters are just quite poor. We did also see quite a bad year in 22, but then again, basically every single company had a bad year in 22. Now, if you look at the performance, as you can see, it is a very old company. It was first launched on the stock in 68. Now we're just going to go back to 2010 just to show here. As you can see here, it's not the high jumper or the pitfall that we sometimes see in tech companies where it's minus 50%. As you can see, average between 15 and 4% loss, which is quite, of course, quite good compared to some other companies. We did see 2018 where they lost 26%, which is of course quite a lot, as it is more than a fourth of the entire company's worth. And then we see some years like 24 last year where IBM really had a great year. But as you can see here, it's not the high jumper, but then again, if you get decent growth each year, plus you reinvest your dividends, it quickly gets to a quite nice growth. You also have to, of course, count the dividend growth with it. Also, I do think they are going to have a quite nice year this year and next year because they make servers, and they also bought Red Hat in 2019 for the AI and hybrid clouding services. So I think that the server companies in general are going to have a quite nice year this year and next year as well. So I am waiting a bit until IBM is seeing a better trend, and then I'm probably going to buy quite a large chunk of it myself. Now, if we take a look at the technicals here, as you can see, for the last day it was trading, it was a sell here and it was a neutral, but for the month it is actually a buy. And you might think, why is it a buy even though we did see it trading downwards? That is because even though our death cross here was on the 6th of March. We did see it trading downwards, but then again, we are seeing a quite nicely bounce back from 217 all the way back up to, what is it, 238 or something? Yes, 238. And we are seeing that the 50-day moving average is gaining upwards momentum, and the 200-day moving average and 50-day moving average are getting closer together, which means the chance we are moving towards a golden cross are better. Of course, there's not certain yet until we have it, but it is trading quite nice at the moment. Of course, with the politic trading these days, it is quite uncertain to take these into consideration, which means that the technicals these days are a bit more uncertain than they usually are. Now, for the price target, the average, as you can see here, is 7% up. I think that is quite low, to be honest, given the fact that just the niche or branch that they are in. As you can see here on the analyst rating, we have 10 strong buy, 2 buy, 6 hold, 1 sell, and 3 strong sell. Of course, it is great to see that we have quite a large variety of analysts saying what they think the stock should be. I personally think it is a strong buy, and I think maybe it's gonna increase 20% later this year. I am personally, as I said, waiting for an upward momentum and also the politics to lay a bit down, primarily because they make it, the main part of revenue is from consulting and software. That is 70% of their revenue. Now, of course, they do make some infrastructure as well with service and AI service and clouding, and also hybrid cloud, which is both where you have it on the premises and you have some where external, which is also a branch of clouding that is growing quite nicely these years, which is also a reason I like it quite a lot. Also, the fact that they have a quite a lot better PE compared to their primary competition, only at 21 at the moment, and Microsoft and Oracle is much higher, as well as Google, which are the 3 main competitors. So personally, for me, IBM right now is quite nice. I do see it increasing. Now, as you can see right now, we did see, let me just get a trend line here. Yes, as you can see here, we did see it bottoming out here, but it was on other support levels, so that is why it makes sense that it would go down here. Now, of course, we are currently resting on another breakthrough support level here, as you can see right here, where these previous tabs are as well, as you can see. Of course, you might take it down here, but for the sake of it, let's just put it here. And now, currently it is trading. I would like to see it trading a bit more sideways this way before it really gains momentum, just to make sure that maybe some of the swing traders or volatility traders are out. I do see it going all way past here. I do think it is going to increase quite a lot. I think over the next period, it is going to trade something like this. Maybe we are going to see a bit of a, after it increases, we are going to see a bit of a downturn here. Let me just make a different color here. Let's just make that red. I do think we are going to see that here, where it's going to trade a bit downwards and then it's going to rebound a bit. I do personally think that is going to happen because it usually happens when companies gain it nice, and also just because of how volatile it has been recently. As you can see, we have seen a bit of volatility in the stock, which of course isn't great, but that is also just because of politics. Of course, we do also see huge upswings and downswings on the earnings. As you can see here, they were just a smidge below what was estimated by analysts, so it tanked quite a bit. As you can see here, it tanked, what's that, $10, $12 on a day, and here they didn't even beat them again by analysts estimating they were 0.03% off, but then again it rose, what is that, yeah, $40 or something in the day. So of course it is quite a volatile on earnings, and we are gonna see earnings which was in 3 days, I believe. Yes, as you can see here, earnings are in 3 days. So, and this is the estimate. Let's hope that they beat it, and you can see here, because of the moon, it is after the market close. So this might be a crazy day. Maybe on this day alone, we are gonna see it rising like this or falling like this. We don't know that yet, of course, as that would be way too much speculative, and I don't do that. But personally, my personal stock for graph for this would be something like this, and then I think later in the year, it is gonna increase quite a bit more. Let me just make that green again, of course. And I think it is gonna increase. I think it isn't unrealistic for me to see this hit 300 this year. I think it is gonna be a bit of a volatile ride. If you got ice in your stomach and you can take that, of course, that's great. So yeah, quite nice for me. Also, I love dividends, and as you see here, they paid out great dividends, and they pay dividends 4 times a year. Now, if you did like this video, as I said earlier, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave any comments on me to do a stock analysis off in the comments below. Thanks for watching.